You had to take a second there.
I had to take a second. There's nothing worse than when someone mispronounces your name.
Right.
Or misspells it. I love the people who will send me an email that is just my name and then misspell my name in the body of the email.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
It's great. Text for Mary.
Yes.
Oh, Allie and Michael. These are two who used to live in Austin. I met them when I had my appearance at Garage Bar out in Willoughby a couple of weeks ago.
Where?
At the Garage Bar in Willoughby.
Oh, I'm going to be there soon.
And they wanted to know, Allie and Michael said, hey, we're going to be visiting New York City the 15th through the 19th of April.
Oh, my goodness.
Any shows Mary's going to be involved with, we'd love to swing by and laugh. Well, that's a little presumptuous. So they're going to be in town next week.
Yes. So I actually have 3 shows that Friday the 19th. If they want to come to any of those. I have a 9 p.m. show, an 11 p.m. show, and a 1 a.m. spot.
Oh, it's an embarrassment of riches. Look at that. On Friday the 19th.
On Friday the 19th. But next week is pretty open for me as far as stand-up goes because I'm doing other things at night next week. I'm doing some podcasts. I'm doing some
But they can't come to those.
stuff. No, but if they want to come, the 19th, I'm at the stand at... I have an 11 o'clock set and a 1 a.m. set, so I'm guessing those are the 10 p.m. and midnight shows. And then I'm at like this little bar show at 9.
I guess it depends on how long they want to be out in rage on a Friday night.
Correct. But Friday night's the night, so we can cater to you 9, 11, or 1. How late do you want to be out? How much fun are you trying to have?
Right.
You know?
And when are you going to be at Garage Bar, Bill?
I'm going to be there April 27th. You can get tickets at billisreal.com.
Oh, boy.
And it's going to be a lot of fun doing all different material than I did the last time I was at Garage Bar. So even if you came to that show, you're going to get a completely different set.
Wow. All right, well, there you go. So Michael and Allie, who are very nice. I think they're from here, but they lived in Austin
I think they came to my
while.
last show in Willoughby. They're very, very great supporters of the show.
And so they'll be in Mary's neck of the woods next week. Next time you are doing any gigs in Kansas City, by the way, beware. I don't know if this seeps through the ground. I was watching a thing about how the USDA has 1.5 billion pounds of cheese stashed in caves underneath Kansas City and almost 400 million pounds of butter. Mary being, being lactose intolerant.
That can't be a real number.
I didn't realize that we were in danger. This stuff's like Fort Knox. I didn't realize that we were in danger of some kind of cheese and butter, some dairy apocalypse where they had
cows
to
dying or something?
Huh?
Like, are cows dying off?
Everything's dying on this planet, Mary. Haven't you heard?
I'm living, baby.
We are dying.
Nope.
The animals around us are dying.
Nope.
We're about to be beset on all sides by billions and billions of cicadas.
No.
The earth is on fire, and we are an empire in decline. But
I'll agree.
Don't worry about the cheese and butter. I'm just saying, for somebody who's famously lactose intolerant, next time you might be doing some gigs in and around the Kansas City area. I wonder if you could take tours of this. You know, Missouri is the show me state.
What kind of cheese? Because typically...
Does that matter?
Yes. Because some cheeses have less of the lactose enzyme.
Would those be the soft cheeses or the hard cheeses?
The hard cheeses. And generally, they're ones that are like aged longer. They don't have as much lactose in them, so they're not as hard on your little tummy.
Well, this is all in the service of market stability. You know, the price of milk is always very volatile. And so milk production rises in the spring because that's when the cows and the calves are given a lot of milk. And then the school year starts in the fall. And guess what happens? The demand for milk goes way up because milk in school.
School sucking milk monster.
And so my daughter, by the way, was fascinated, not only at Hopkins Airport, but when we landed in Orlando. Bookending because both airports have those lactation pods now.
Yeah.
And she knows what's up. I mean, she knows what that is. But I was like, well, that's, if somebody's going to get on a plane, they want to, squeeze some out or whatever. They got a kid with them. It had been a minute since because the last few times we have traveled, we haven't flown. We've either flown out of Detroit or somewhere else. This was actually the first time we were kind of laughing about it. We're like, we've traveled quite a bit with our daughter. This is the first time she had ever been in the Cleveland airport because we just don't fly out of Hopkins that often. So the lactation pods, I'm just waiting for some half-wit to file a lawsuit. Why can't I get in there? Well, they're lactation pods, sir. You know how guys...
What if I identify as lactating?
Yeah, well, that's a whole different thing. I'm just saying, these guys that, don't have enough in their favor. They got to sue anytime there's something that's female-oriented. That's discrimination. All right, sir, fine. You want to sit in the lactation pod?
I have been so tired at the airport before that I've thought about going in there and taking a nap.
Because they can't prove you're not lactating, right?
They can't. They can't be like, pull out your breasts and squeeze the milk out. Like,
right.
They can't do that. I'm a woman. I could go in there and I'd be like, I'm pumping. Half hour. Just let me lay in here. I'm so tired.
I'm always trying to get my wife to park in expectant mother parking. They don't know that she's not ovulating.
They have no idea.
No way to check.
But it also doesn't mean that you are expecting to become a mother. You can just be an expectant mother, like a mother who expects a lot out of your children.
Yeah.
That's how
my mother was so expectant of us.
Right.
Her expectations couldn't have been higher. Finally, they've given her some parking priority.
Held us to such a high standard.
Yeah. Yeah. But you'll notice, given that example, they don't have similar parking spots for put-upon children. My parents expected a lot out of us. Unfortunately, my other siblings have far outstripped me in accomplishments. But what are you going to do? Where's my parking spot? Not meeting expectations.
You have a parking spot. At work?
It's not for me.
It's via
my
badge.
Name isn't on it.
Would that make a difference?
I don't know. My name looks pretty good in print.
Hmm.
No, it wouldn't really make a difference, no. That's how I was fully, by the way, expecting people to be parked in our reserved spots on the day of the eclipse.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I pulled in that morning, the sign was already out that said garage full, key card access only. That's us. First couple levels there, first half level, is iHeart reserved parking. I fully expected those to be full. Because they barely enforce that in our building, yeah.
Well, probably because it was a daytime game. I don't think they care if the game starts after 4 or 5 o'clock.
Well, weekends, it's all bets are off, right? I didn't realize that either. Yeah, like it's a 9 to 5 thing, and then the weekends, they tell them, hey, park wherever you want. But, yeah. I got another green sticker on my driver's side window a couple of weeks ago because I tried
to. Suck, man.
Well, I tried to park. I go, well, I tried to pull up. I didn't think I was pulling a fast one. I really wasn't intending to do that. I was like, oh, well, I'll try parking another reserved spot with my placard, credential there and placard. Thank you. And didn't work. Anywho, all of this butter and cheese underneath Kansas City. Now, I don't know whether those spores get into the air and they might, all I'm saying is next time you're in Kansas City, I wouldn't want your performance to be inhibited because you were surrounded by milk and cheese spores.
Well, it is. It will be.
We saw
Mary Santora and she was sneezing the entire time and I didn't care for it.
The cheese spores! The cheese spores!
That's right. We were at the Funny Bone in Kansas City and Mary Santora was there. But she was sneezing the whole time. Her eyes were watering.
I'm not allergic.
Huh?
I'm not allergic like that. If anything, I'd be bloated.
She was, but that's less.
Bloated and farty.
That's less visually noticeable. Nobody's going to go, whoa, she was bloated. They don't know what you look like. But allergic, if you're presenting that way.
Veruca Salt.
Yes.
To do a blueberry.
I want an Oompa Loompa now.
Or actually, I'll look like a wheel of cheese.
So in the late 40s, the USDA introduced something called the Dairy Product Price Support Program, or the DPP. And they have these caves underneath Kansas City. You know, the best cheese comes from caves.
Cave cheese, yeah.
Cave cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Cave aged.
And so it's all underneath there. Now, again, I don't know if they give tours. But, you know, this whole program they came up with in the late 40s, it ended about a decade back, but they still have all this stored cheese that they use for, like, food assistance programs, like WIC and things like that. But, boy, 1.5 billion pounds?
Would you, if they did a cave tour of this butter cheese cave, but you had to taste the butter at the end? It was required.
Wait. So it's, do I get to have, let me think about this. I have to.
You get to see the whole cave, and you get to go on a tour, and they explain it all to you. It's super limited, but it is a mandatory butter tasting at the end.
Can I determine the amount? All I need to do is taste it.
It's a butter tasting, like a
Yes.
wine tasting.
Oh,
right?
like a
So
flight
there's,
of butters?
So
Yes.
you can swish it around in your mouth and spit it out.
Spit it back out. But they're only giving out 100 of these tours
Right.
to
Think of
anyone
how
in the whole country.
Amazing it would be to see the butter cave, Alan.
That's what I'm saying. And you have to taste the butter at the end. Would you do it?
Well, can I, again, I revert to my initial question. Can I just put a little butter on the tip of a spoon and
Yes,
that's
but
my
it's
tasting?
4 different butters. You have to taste all 4.
Can I take those tiny amounts of each?
Yes.
Then yes, of course.
Okay.
I mean, like cheese.
I would.
My wife would be. I would just slip it. You know how people will
You
pass.
gotta eat the butter. You can't pass it on to Jim. To
Okay.
Gwen.
No,
She
you
likes
have
butter.
to taste
Yeah.
it. It's a butter tasting.
Otherwise, they execute you.
Yes.
Oh,
You don't get
what?
to
This
come out of
jumped
the
up.
cave.
This jumped up a notch.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
If-
stupid question. So
If you don't do the tasting.
You can throw anything into it that you want.
First of all, this is a brilliant question. If you don't do the tasting, they lock you in the cave. And you become
Lock
a
you
cheesemonger.
in the cave.
Yeah.
see,
Wow.
I like butter, but I still just don't think I'd want to go on this tour because I don't think it'd be that interesting to just see
You don't have any idea what's in there.
butter in.
4
cheese.
billion pounds of butter isn't like, wow, that's a lot of butter. I'd like to see that.
I don't know.
Underground, by the way. I mean,
Underground butter.
it is ridiculous. No one is expecting this to be entertaining because after you take in the sheer breadth of it, you go, oh, and then you go back up topside and you go about your day. But, yes, of course, I don't want to be A, executed, B, locked in a cave in Kansas City. Think of all the barbecue I'd be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course. I would take a taste of 4 different kinds of butters. And you know why? Because what if I stumble onto one I really like?
That's what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. People are always saying you got to try new things. I don't necessarily believe that. Once you find what you like, stick to it, live your life. But there's a chance, right? Maybe I just haven't found the right
butter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So just FYI, with those cheese caves there, there's some weird stuff going on. Maybe there's a tour to be had. I don't know. I got some kids' corner here.
It ain't easy being a kid. Now look at what you gone done did. Whoa, it's time for Kids Corner. Kids Corner.
Well, speaking of the USDA, it is the end of an era if they get their way. They are trying to get Lunchables out of public schools.
Ooh.
Now,
I always thought Lunchables were incredibly overrated. Even as a kid, I was like, this is just crappy stuff.
I don't think I even had one until a couple of years ago. I tried one. I'm like, oh, food you don't have to refrigerate. Sounds awesome. It turns out, you're never going to believe this, it turns out it may not be the healthiest option.
No.
But I'll tell you what, this is a fool's errand, and I love every time they do it. This was Michelle Obama's cause celeb, right? When she was the first lady, she was trying to get kids to eat healthier, and they were trying to, and everybody screams and cries that they're trying to force their kids to eat produce or whatever. Don't tell my kid. But the USDA is like, there's too much lead, by the way, like you're eating goddamn paint chips, lead and sodium and all kinds of other stuff. They're like, Lunchables should not be on school menus. Now, they're not there because they're healthy. They're there because they're cheap, and that's all that matters with schools.
What part of it has lead in it? The meat, the crackers, the candy, the Capri Sun?
Probably
Like,
all of it. Probably all of it. Troublingly high levels of lead and sodium. They said, we don't think anybody should be regularly eating these products, and certainly not in schools. So they're trying to get. I don't even remember what kind of Lunchable I had. I know
Hey.
there's a ton of different ones, right? Like,
No,
oh, really?
there's like 6.
Oh,
There's turkey, ham, bologna, pizza, nachos. I think that, I'm not even kidding, I think that might be it.
okay.
I can't name another one.
I'm
Those are
looking
the
at. I'm
5.
looking at a picture. They have one called Natural, Oscar Mayer Natural, that looks like it's got a couple of Triscuits and maybe some cheese that has less crap in it. Turkey and
That's-
cheddar. There's a thing that's called pizza, but it looks like a stack of tiny crackers with
Dude,
some.
I love pizza Lunchables. It's like
But none of these are
communion wafer.
refrigerated, right? You just pull them off a
No,
shelf.
they're refrigerated.
Oh,
all
are they really?
refrigerated. Yeah.
Oh. What are the ones that you pull off the shelf? Like they're so processed, they're not even required to be refrigerated.
I've
There's
never
stuff like
seen
that. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know of any other ones. I might be missing one, but turkey, ham, bologna, pizza, nacho.
Okay. And you
And
had
the
these
nacho
on the
one-
regular as a kid?
Oh yeah, but they used to be like 10 for 10.
Yeah.
You used to be able to get, and then after that, the original Lunchable, they started to include the ones with the Capri Sun and the cookie or the candy bar. The original Lunchable is just like meat, cracker, cheese. That's it.
Okay.
And then they included like the lunchbox version that had the drink and the dessert in it as well. And those were like $3.
All right.
Really splurging on it.
They said that the tests on these Lunchables had relatively high levels of lead, sodium, and cadmium. You know, stuff they make batteries with? Right there in the Lunchables.
How do you
Yummy.
think kids get energy, Alan?
You got to plug batteries in, right, Mary?
Yes, that's how they get their electricity.
Yes. Cadmium, of
energy.
course, is a human carcinogen. You know, there's people who end up with bone cancer because of cadmium exposure, but throw it in the Lunchables. I'm sure it's a byproduct. I doubt they're making things with cadmium.
Yeah,
in
they're
them.
not like adding it. They're like, oh, these are a little short on cadmium.
It's a very expensive ore. You know, countries are going to go to war over cadmium mines because of all the cell phone batteries that need to be made. Eric, hello. I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and say it.
It was Violet Beauregard who swelled up like a blueberry.
Yeah, I
Oh,
knew it
you're
as soon as
right,
I said
you're
it.
right.
Yep.
My bad. I should have known that. That was me.
Yeah, I should
I
have
apologize.
too. Thank you, Eric. Violet Beauregard, of course, became the giant blueberry.
Veruca
Salt
Salt
was like kicking her feet and screaming, and she was like that.
I want it now.
I want to Oompa Loompa now. Yeah.
She went down the goose egg hole.
Right. She's the petulant little British girl.
Yes.
Also
As
in
soon
Kids
as it-
Corner, they are bringing back Yo Gabba Gabba. Remember Yo Gabba Gabba?
I
know
watched
that
it
it
with the name.
was a show. I never.
Yeah, I was too old for it, but my older kids loved it, and the little one now,
My-
when she was little, she loved Yo Gabba Gabba.
My kids watched it a little bit, but they were, by the time I came around, they were kind of growing out of it.
Yeah, it's just
already.
fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, adults could watch it, and it felt like you were kind of tripping balls, but it was, they had DJ Lance Rock. He's not going to be doing it now because I think that guy's like 65 years old. They've replaced him with a 12-year-old girl. But they're bringing back all of the original Yo Gabba Gabba characters. It's called Yo Gabba Gabba Land, and this is going to be on Apple TV. It will premiere on Friday, August the 9th for people. I know how much people love nostalgia, so it might be worth checking out. Because back in the day, Yo Gabba Gabba, it was on Nickelodeon. Yo Gabba Gabba had DJ Lance Rock, who was the main guy. But like Biz Marquee was the sidekick. Remember Biz Marquee was on there? And they had the Aquabats. And they just had like these bands, like Weezer was on Yo Gabba Gabba. And they'd have My Chemical Romance and these, grown-up bands. But they would play these, pithy little songs. Reggie
this a
Watts would be on it.
cartoon?
Huh? No,
Is
it's
this a
live
car-
action. But they have like...
I thought it had like characters or Muppets or something.
It does, like giant stuffed characters, but there's people inside them. Broby and Fufa and Tootie and Plex, and yeah. It was kind of fun. I mean, it was, out of all the kids' shows, it was the one you could watch and not feel like an utter moron watching it. But it's been gone for a while. But they're bringing back Yo Gabba Gabba to Apple Plus for people who have that. I got to take a break here. I will have those Eric Andre tickets for you. Eric Andre show is coming to the world-famous Agora. I don't know what form his show is going to take, but that's for you to find out. June 15th is when that's going to go down. I'll have those tickets for you after the break.
It's the Alan Cox Show.
Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app.
Or whatever smart device.